guys, it's Robin, RsIslandCrafts, and this is Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, June 4th, 2019. I had a very creative week last week. I'm going to show you a few things and you'll see that I was hanging out in the craft room now that the floor is clean. The rest of it is still kind of jumbled because it's more fun to play with the fabric than it is to organize the fabric, right? So not too much exciting this week other than the normal day-to-day exciting things that we have going on anyways. I did go through and weed the flower garden. And over in our front area, we have probably a 2-foot spot where we have aloe plants. And some of the aloes are nice and big. And it's not the ones that shoot up like this. It's the ones that have the leaves that just kind of go out like this. Like you'd see when you go to the grocery store and they have those big flat aloe plants with all the spikes coming off the side, the leaves. That's what we have, except the leaves are only about this long and not this long. But anyways, I went through and I took out a whole bunch of the babies. And just in a 12-foot spot, I took out 9 babies and I left the 2 big mother plants. So that's a lot of babies and mama plants just in that little spot. Well, maybe a little bit more than 12 inches. More like maybe 18 inches. Just because I'm a quilter doesn't mean I pay attention to measurements and I don't have that visual thing where I can look at something and say, that's a foot. I tried to imagine a ruler. But anyways, in a space about this big, I pulled out 9 babies and I transplanted them into the new flower bed that I put in the backyard. And there's still a whole bunch more. There's probably another dozen babies plus the big mama plants. I think I'm going to have to make a little flower bed on the side of the house. They may like it a little bit better there. They get a nice amount of sun, but it doesn't beat down constantly. So they'll get the sun that they need, and then maybe they won't lose as much water because it's in more of a shaded area in some places. That way I'll just spread them around the house, send some over to my daughter's because she wants some aloe plants too. And then there's still going to be plenty because these things reproduce. When an aloe plant has babies, it sends a root off of the main plant and then a little baby will pop up. And the leaves are only about 1 inch long and there's usually about 3 leaves and then it grows really quick from there. And then that baby will shoot off some more from that way. So there's always a constant, like a connection of wires, but of roots that go from plant to plant. And it's easy. You can just dig underneath and pull them up and the roots will come and separate and it'll be no problem. They just have this one channel, a main, almost like an umbilical cord that goes from them. And it just pops off easily when you pull it out. And then they transplant beautifully. Even I don't kill them off. Now that I've said that, let's hope they do well. But I did a bunch of weeding and everything on Sunday, and now the backs of my legs are sore. Even when you're kneeling down on the ground, it just does something to the way the muscles work in the back of your legs, and they're always sore afterwards when I do about an hour session of weeding. A lot of times I'll just go through every day and I'll pick a spot and I'll just pull out the new little pieces of grass and weeds that come out. But when I have to do the entire flower bed and then the one in the back also, yeah, it kind of gets to me. But let's talk about some crafting and some of the things that I got done this week. Rob's Crocheted Afghan is getting so big that I wanted to go ahead and show it to you here on Talk to Me Tuesday so you can see what it's looking like. I think we figured out that it needs maybe about another foot. I think this part down here is my favorite with the gray and the red stripes. When I take this, I always take this to I generally take this with us when we go and do the cancer center stuff, whether it's just fluids or chemo, and everyone just loves this bright red color that's in there. I'm trying to use up what I have left of the red, which is just this little bit left of the skein, just a couple of ounces left in it, just a few yards. But I'm going to go ahead and pick up the gray again and do another one of those little mini stripes in here. So it'll be a little bit of red, a little bit of gray, and a little bit of red. And then the rest I'm just going to do gray for him so it's not a pure red Afghan. We'll see what it looks like. Tuesdays are chemo days and it's usually at least a 5-hour day. But a lot of that is non-crafting time. I'll probably have about 3 hours where I can sit down and work on this. So we'll see what it looks like after Tuesday and whether or not I decide it's done. I can't work on it at home anymore because it's just gotten way too hot in the house. It's summertime here, like everywhere else. We've got the big old heat index down here in Florida. And when I get up at 5 in the morning, it's already 78 degrees outside and the humidity's high. So holding this on my lap is just a little bit too hot right now. I did go a little crazy in the quilting. I pulled out the Drunkard's Path die and I had some of these cut, and I went ahead and I cut some more. So right now this is 39 by 46. I don't know, I kind of want to put a little bit borders on the side to make it a little wider. I don't know if I have enough of the swirly fabric to do one more row just to make it that much wider, but I'm going to check and see, because if I do, I don't want to just put borders on just half of it or something, you know, on each side. If I can't put borders around all 4 edges, I don't want to do it on just the 2 sides, because it kind of looks strange to me. On a quilt like this, I don't think it would work. And I don't want to make it too much longer than 46. I want to have it just a little bit of a lap size. I know I could put wider borders on the sides and then narrow borders on the top and bottom, and I might do that if I can't find any more of this swirl fabric enough to make 7 more blocks to go down the side. But when I look at this, I remember years ago seeing a pattern like this where they used the wave pattern and they made it for Halloween, because when it curves up here and these 2 points mix here, it looks like a bat. I put pictures up on my Instagram and you can definitely see that, depending if you look at the black or the blue, but the black pops for me, that it looks like bats. So I want to see if I can find some orange fabric to put into one spot and then some black in the other, and just make a small little wall hanging with some bats on it. I also worked on some minis. Within my Patreon group, one of the rewards that the higher groups get is they get a mini as a little thank you for supporting me. So I started working on some minis this week. These ended up being 2.5 inch half square triangles. And I have a large wall hanging like this where the cream is here. I used probably about a medium gray. It's up there in the corner. And it's twice this size because I used 4 inch half square triangles instead of the, well, 4.5 instead of the 2.5. But I thought these were really kind of cute. I was given these fabrics, they were a fat quarter set. They were given to me from a friend, so I thought I'll go ahead and use them for this because it all matches. I don't have to worry about it. Now I think this cream, which was given to me by someone else, might be one of those broadcloths, because when I put the iron to it, I can see that it made the little wrinklies that I had problems with it once before. So I'm going to go ahead and take a cooler draw iron, not so quite hot, put it a little bit of a lower setting, and go ahead and press these again. And then what I was already planning anyways is, I think in the cream section, that I'm going to go ahead and do some micro stippling to let these colors pop out, and that's going to go ahead and take care of any of those little wrinkles anyway, and I won't have to worry about it. I also thought about doing some matchstick quilting in there, and I might do that too. I'm really torn. I think I might end up doing, well, look, I've got 3 of them, right? I can micro stipple on one, I can match back quilt on the other, and then whatever I like the best I can put on the third. Now I have enough of these half square triangles still cut out. I have a decent stack that I could probably do 1, maybe 2, or one larger version like this. So I'm going to go ahead and make one of those this week, I hope. And I want to go ahead and quilt these. I think this would be really fun to make a whole bunch of these to put together into a full quilt top. I used a Missouri Star quilt version of the half square triangles where you stitch around all 4 sides and then you cut an X, and then you're really careful of all the bias edges. I can see easily where the bias is in here because I have some decent stretch going in both directions. So I'll just be careful with that, and I think the matchbox stitching will go ahead, and like I said, the stippling. If I go ahead and do the borders, follow along the fabrics and stuff, I think I'll be able to control with enough pins to control any of that bias from stretching out too much. But I think when I do the next one, I'm going to do it more scrappy so that all the colors don't line up and they'll be all mixed together. I had them up on the board the first time, and I thought maybe my patrons might want to have it more controlled for their little wall hangings. And then I'll go ahead and make the scrappy ones and put them up in the shop. So if anyone is interested, they can go ahead and see it. I'll have them next week probably, and you'll be able to see what they look like. So that's it for me this week. A couple little quilts, one larger quilt, and Rob's Afghan. I was very busy this week doing a lot of stitching and sewing. That sewing machine was humming all weekend. Did you guys get to do anything exciting this weekend with the nice weather everyone's been having? Or did you do like I did and stay inside out of the heat and play in the craft room? Looking forward to seeing everyone else's videos, and I'll see you later. Bye!